Hello and welcome. It's a new video. I am starting it with footage from one of my Zul'Farrak runs while I was leveling up. It's not about ZF, but it does help drive the point home regarding the later part of the video. So there's nothing interesting that you're going to see here other than an epic dropping. It's not particularly important and it's definitely not necessary. Zul'Farrak runs will just yield about 9 gold, I would say, per run initially, not counting an epic dropping or anything like that. The footage is playing at 6 times normal speed, just because I don't think there's anything I can add to the existing hundreds of Zul'Farrak videos, how to solo them as a mage. I always start as a mage on a fresh release. I go with Herbalism and Mining. You will see why later on in the video. So the thing about Zul'Farrak is that you can start it at level 42. You can solo this thing up to level 54 when it sort of stops giving you any experience, at which point you just want to go and reach level 60 using your preferred, I don't know, leveling guide or AoEing Maraudon or whatever you prefer. It's beyond the point of this video, so I will not be covering that. Now, Zul'Farrak is something you can do maybe 4 or 5 times an hour, depending on your level, depending on how good you're at it, depending on luck, not getting disconnected and whatever. And as such, you're going to be making something like 40 to maybe 50 gold an hour, again not counting the off chance of an epic item dropping. We'll get to why that is important later on, because 40 gold an hour isn't much and it's definitely not important. However, when combined with other stuff we're doing, which I'm going to be covering shortly, it does become important. So let's get to that. Let's get to why that's important. Okay, so you've spammed Zul'Farrak and you've made, I don't know, some hundreds of gold or whatever, because you're going to be doing that from level 42 to level 54. So you are talking about, I don't know, probably 50, 60 rounds, and that easily translates into 5, 6, 700 gold. In my case, I had about 600 gold. And the thing is, I did not need the gold straight away. So because I didn't need that gold, I mean, of course I could have bought an epic mount with a few more rounds and so on, but instead what I chose to do was to invest the gold. And let me try to walk you through this. One option of making gold in Classic WoW is to know what's going to be selling for good amounts later down the line, in later phases, because they are releasing this thing in phases. Like phase 1, you've got nothing, you just level. Phase 2, they release Molten Core and Onyxia. Phase 3, they are going to release, I don't know, PvP, Blackwing Glare, whatever. Now, what I've done was I used the gold from Zul'Farrak to buy things. And if you look at this add-on I'm using, it shows you how much of an item, how many I've got on various characters and where they are. So I've got a character named Yerbur and that holds 100 elemental earth. I've got another character called Potions, this guy, it holds 110 elemental earth. And so on, for a total of 221, as you can see in the add-on tooltip on the bottom side of that tooltip window, right? Now these I bought for about 8 silver each, and the reason for that is that I was ahead of the pack due to soloing Zul'Farrak, which is incredibly fast as a leveling method for a mage. So I was, I don't know, 54 when other people were still in their 40s. Now, if you look at these things, they're currently selling for 30 silver each, right? So I could buy a lot more of them. You can see I've got like 15, close to 1600 gold, right? Well, with elemental earth, I would say it's a pretty good investment. Firstly, because it's going to be used later in AQ40. Greater nature protection potions are going to be required, most likely on Huhuran and on Cthulhu, for example, right, in AQ40. Those haven't been released yet, but when they do get released, the demand for these things will skyrocket, because these are these are nature damage bosses, right? So people are going to want those. They also want, at this stage, when you've only got Molten Core and Onyxia out, they also want these greater fire protection potions, right? Of which I've sold several, and some more are on their way to, well, being sold, really. Just because every pug requires you to show up with, I don't know, 3 to 5 greater fire protection potions for whatever, whether it's Onyxia, whether it's Ragnaros, whether it's Gar, whatever. It doesn't concern us. I have made these potions along with greater shadow protection potion, greater nature protection potion, and so on. These are made by me. I have created another alt, right? That's something you might want to do if you find the time and the will to do it, obviously. And for me that was a level 35 rogue, this one, right? And it's got for professions, that is, it's got alchemy and engineering, like, well, not 300, but close to 300 in engineering, and it's got 300 alchemy. You do need level 35 to do that. I farmed the Greater Frost, Nature and Shadow Protection potions using the Mage. The recipes, that is, I farmed those using the Mage, as well as Elixir of the Mongoose. And these are once again going to be required in later tiers. So when I'm talking of, when I speak of investments, right, these are a bit of a long-term thing. They're not going to happen overnight. You could be making gold with this right now, no problem at all, because if you look at, let's take a look at the Greater Fire protection potion, right? This typically drops off trash, specific trash in LBRS, and it requires 1 elemental fire, which you can see is currently selling for 70 silver, and 1 dream foil, which is currently selling for 52 silver. But when I made those potions, you could see, and I've got hundreds of them, dream foil was selling for, I think, 12 silver, and elemental fire was selling for 20 silver. So in short, a 32 silver investment, and I am now selling those potions that you could see. And again, I do have hundreds of them, really. For what? 1.7 gold. And that is now. But as more people generate gold, either by farming ZF, Maraudon, whatever, obviously inflation is going to rear its ugly head, right? So what that means is that these potions would eventually sell for 4 gold, 5 gold, whatever, if you have the patience to hold on to them. I normally do have the patience, but in this case I'm just trying to free up some backspace because I've got a lot of these things and they only stack to 5, and yeah, because of that I started selling some of them. Now the elemental earth is also required for a different thing. In Molten Core, if you look at, I think it's, well, let me just find it here, right? Elemental earth is also going to be required for elemental sharpening stones, which, as you can see, increase critical chance on a melee weapon by 2% for 30 minutes. Warriors are going to want these. They're not really required now, because now people only do Molten Core and Onyxia, and those can easily be cleared without any sort of consumables in a mix of green and blue unenchanted gear, so you don't need to do that. Obviously, this is not my only investment, so I didn't only go with elemental earth and with greater shadow protection or frost protection or whatever potions. I do have plenty of other stuff stored on for later. Fire oil, for example, you can see I've got 860 of them. This is also going to come in handy later down the line. Combined with Fire Bloom, of which you can see I've got 446, you can make greater elixir of greater firepower when that is introduced in a later phase. And that is also going to sell for quite a bit of gold. So that's where the ZF gold thing comes into play. Because although you are only making, say, 40 to 50 gold per hour, let's go with 40, that's conservative, right? Although you're only making 40 gold an hour, that 40 gold, if invested wisely, of course, translates into possibly 10 times that amount if you're using it to invest in other stuff. So if you look at this thing, the winter squid, for example, you can see I've got a total of 3,700 of them, and these have been fished by other people, most likely using bots. That's not my problem, that's Microsoft's problem, or Activision, or Blizzard, whatever you want to call them. And I bought these for, I think, 2 silver each. They're currently going for 7 silver each, so that's easily 3 times the amount, but these will not be fishable in a few months, because they can only be fished in Ajara during the winter months, right? So once that stops happening, seeing how it's a bit difficult to store too many of them just due to backspace and bank space issues, they are going to be selling for, I think, significantly more than that. We'll see about that. As far as I'm concerned, I could be selling them right now, and in fact I might list them right now for 7 silver each, because that's still 3 times the money I spent on getting them. I will actually try to list some of them. Okay, I was wrong, it's now 24 silver each. Maybe I should have rescanned the auction house before speaking about it for a while. Let's see. Maybe they sell, maybe they don't. I don't actually care. They will be selling further down the line, that's for sure. Because you can make... I don't know whether Atlas Loot has anything about this. Probably not. Cooking. Okay, yeah, it does. This can be used combined with soothing spices to create this agility food. So every rogue, every hunter, and possibly some warriors, some of them, not all of them, because most of them will want to use this sort of thing, right? But rogues and hunters will definitely want this. 10 agility for 10 minutes. And because it only lasts 10 minutes, when you're thinking about a raid that could last several hours, well, then you definitely want to buy quite a few of these, right? There are other herbs as well, some of which I bought at the time, others which I farmed myself. And when I said I would go with a mage, that I always go with a mage with Herbalism and Mining, it's because I also pick various herbs, but I mostly aim for obviously Black Lotus. These at the moment are going for about 24 gold each, so I'm not going to sell them, just because I know that right now people don't need Black Lotus, right? They might start using flasks in, I don't know, AQ40, and definitely in Nax if they actually expect to clear anything. So the price on the Black Lotus thing will go up by quite a bit. And of course I do have both Herbalism and Mining. on this character, which is a gold making character. I don't care about its gear. I do have blue gear all around. It's not particularly good. It's just what you can easily get without going into raids or, you know, making that sort of effort. But yeah, that's what we use this sort of thing for. And I'm talking about ZF, just to generate the initial gold that you're going to invest and then get more money down the line by reselling whatever you bought for a much higher price. Obviously that wasn't the only thing I bought. I also bought a lot of Dreamfoil, Mountain Silver Sage, Plague Bloom, whatever you could think of really. Because at the time when people were still leveling, those were selling for, again, next to nothing. You can also see that right now I've got the 60% increased speed Raptor, so not the epic mount. I do have enough money to go and buy the epic mount, but I'm not gonna do that. The reason for not doing that is that once PvP hits, right, once you get to Alterac Valley and you get exalted, which isn't really that difficult, you're able to buy this mount, the Frost Wolf Howler. And this sells for, if I recall correctly, about 540 gold, as opposed to 900 gold that I would have to pay for the Raptor right now. You do get a discount for the Raptor, I think, once you get a PvP rank, but the PvP system is not out yet, so that's not an option. And because I intend to buy epic mounts for free characters, the Mage, the Priest, and the Rogue, which I am going to level at some point, I am not going to buy the epic mount now, simply because if I had to buy, you know, 3 epic mounts at 900 gold each, that would mean that I would have to pay 2700 gold, right? Whereas if you buy the what's it called, the Frostwolf Howler thingy, then you end up paying, for 3 of them, you end up paying 1620 gold. So that's just saving 1080 gold right there. That's the only reason for which I'm still using the 60% mount, right? So investments, those are an option. Zul'Farrak farming, that's an option because you can easily do that at 60. It no longer requires any sort of skill. It doesn't require paying any sort of attention. You can just go in and AoE the hell out of everything. You can also add other mobs in there, like you can pull the scarabs, you can pull a bunch of other stuff and supposedly increase the gold generated during a single run. I'm not bothering with that anymore, and I'll show you why. Before I do that though, I'm just casually going to include this clip, just for herbalism purposes. Like I said, I am using herbalism and mining. So with that out of the way, I've included a couple of clips here, taken from my Twitch, and it's just what I've been doing recently, and that is farming the Eye of Shadow. That's done in Winter Spring in Dark Whisper Gorge. You just go and kill these guys, Hedorine Slayers, and I believe the Initiates, the casters, the succubus-looking fellows, they can also drop it, I think. I'm not 100% sure. I know that the Mana Stalkers can't drop it, but these guys, the Slayers, they definitely can drop it. You've seen me getting one of them there. You're going to see me getting another one here. The chat doesn't show that here just because it was scrolled up, but I scrolled down just to show it when I heard the sound. So yeah, these are 2 of them, but I will include a few more and just talk things over. Okay, so this is just a bunch of clips I've recorded. You can see here I just sold one Eye of Shadow. Another one has been sold via trade chat. Another priest was looking for the Eye of Shadow. The first one I sold for 375, the second one I sold for 395, but with the auction house cut I ended up getting 376 gold instead. I have farmed quite a few of these, I would say. I think I'm currently at the 4th or 5th one, I am not quite sure. There is a bit of a problem with this item, with the Eye of Shadow, and that problem is that it's unique, meaning that if you hold one of them, either on your character or in the bank, you're unable to pick up another one. So that's something to keep in mind if you're farming that, and if you've already got one of them, then you need to go and mail it or sell it or do something with it. Because if another one drops and you're already holding one, you're going to be unable to pick it up. And there are no mailboxes around there, you don't have items like Maul from Wrath of the Lich King or anything like that to help you quickly dispose of one of them, right? So you can see in there I had picked up one of them. And obviously I immediately went and listed another. This is footage from my priest. You can see that the priest is also holding one. Initially I was about to farm these for my priest in case I get the Eye of Divinity, but eventually I decided that, you know what, I am just going to sell them, because I'm not particularly interested in that. My rogue, as you're about to see, also holds another one, so I have been farming quite a few of these, and I will try to include some footage from farming these guys. So yeah, it all happens here in Winter Spring. Because I'm a herbalist and a miner, I also pick up any herbs I can find here, like mountain silver sage, ice cap, occasionally a black lotus, and I also farm the rich thorium veins, because a couple of them spawn right about here where you farm these mobs, right? So one of them spawns up on that hill, another one spawns further down this path close to the entrance to the tunnel. I don't think I've got any of those rich thorium veins popping up in this footage, but they do spawn, and there is of course a very small chance of you getting an arcane crystal. Those currently go for, I don't know, something like 37 gold each on this server. I think, I'm not entirely sure. You also get fell cloth, you get demonic runes, but those don't really matter. I don't really take those into consideration when I talk about gold here, right? So it's quite simple. You just wait for spawns. You will typically want the slayers because they are 100% melee, they have no ranged abilities, so that makes them perfect for a frost mage with frostbite, right? You start by spamming your max rank frostbolt, use your frost nova, either blink or walk away, and you keep kiting them. You can use rank 1 frostbolt, which is much quicker to keep them slowed, or to fish for clear casting procs, right? Combined with shatter, frostbite, all that stuff, you get something like a 65% chance to crit them with winter chill and shatter and whatever intellect gear you've got. So what that means is that you're able to take them down easily, not much effort required really, you're never in any real danger when fighting these guys, right? You can also face tank a few hits here and there. It shouldn't be necessary. The only reason for which I get hit occasionally is that I'm a bit greedy on the frostbolts. I do just stand there and cast another frostbolt when necessary, and I just don't mind if I end up getting hit every now and then, right? Yeah, inventory problems, backspace problems. Nothing new, I suppose. So, with these things selling for quite a bit of gold, right? You can just check the auction house on your own server, I suppose, and see what these sell for. There is a bit of a, shall we say, there is a bit of competition, both in terms of tagging mobs and in terms of selling these on the auction house. People are constantly trying to undercut you, they're trying to tag your mobs, but it doesn't matter, because the thing is, this Eye of Shadow item has no listing fee, so you can just list it for 24 hours. You can do that over and over again at no cost to you, so it will sell when it will sell, it doesn't matter, You can also keep an eye on the trade chat and see if anyone's interested in buying it just without using the auction house. It's up to you really. It takes no effort, and because of that I've started doing that instead of Zul'Farrak. Now in my experience, and I've sold a couple of them, but I've still got two more. As you can see, I've got one listed on the Mage, and I've got another one that's still on the Priest in the Priest's inventory, right? So that's the one here on the auction house, and my Priest should, if I recall correctly, it should still have, yeah, it still has another Eye of Shadow. So we're talking about 750 gold that I am going to make of these, roughly. I might end up selling them a bit cheaper. It all depends on the auction house and on how many people are actually able to get to Majordomo and to kill it. Because this item is used by priests who are trying to get their benediction staff, right? So if you look at Molten Core, and you go to Majordomo, this guy can drop the chest that you get when you defeat his pack. It either holds the Ancient Petrified Leaf for the hunters or the Eye of Divinity for the priests. When a priest gets the Eye of Divinity, they will also want the Eye of Shadow in order to be able to get their benediction anathema staff, right? Which in this phase has no rival, like there's nothing that comes even close to this. Well, that unfortunately depends on people being able to get to Majordomo, to even spawn him. Being this early in this phase, a lot of people have not done their Molten Core quests, and I'm one of them. I still don't have the Hands of the Enemy thing. Because of that, I don't have a Douse, and because I don't have a Douse, even though I reached Honored, because I still have the quest, I'm unable to extinguish those runes, and that's the situation a lot of players are in. It's not that they can't kill Majordomo, it's that they are simply unable to spawn him in the first place. So that means that a lot of priests are not even able to get the Eye of Divinity, and without it they have very little use for the Eye of Shadow. Obviously some of them were able to get it, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to sell the Eye of Shadows. But that is something that's going to be fixed in time, like 1 week, 2 weeks from now, in a few resets in short, people are going to be able to do that. So I switched to doing this sort of thing because the Eye of Shadow can be farmed fairly easily, I would say, and it takes somewhere between, I would say, between 5 minutes if you're really lucky and 3 hours if you're really unlucky. So I got 4 of them in roughly 10 hours, obviously spread over a few days. And what that means is that, let's say each eye would have taken 3 hours. The first one I got really quickly, like the second kill I had just walked in there and it dropped, right? But let's say you go with 3 hours, 375 gold that you're going to get. What that technically means is that you're making something like 125 gold per hour. When compared to Zul'Farrak, which at this level means something like 50 gold per hour, then you're obviously looking at a significantly better option, right? It's over double what you get from Zul'Farrak. Now, another thing you can do as a mage, which is why I always go on a mage first, is to sell services. And those services take different forms, I guess you might call them. So one thing you can do is obviously you can sell water and you can sell portals. That's something like 1 gold per 6 stacks of water, but they cost you nothing to make. Like you just do this 6 times and bam, that's 6 gold. or 1 gold, whatever. You can also sell portals, and right now those go for about 20 gold per portal. So if you're into that, I suppose you can just keep teleporting to people, between Bander City, Thunderbluff, or Grimar, and you can just sell those portals. A lot of mages do that. What they do is they buy lots and lots of these runes, which are really cheap. I mean, you pay 9 silver for a rune of teleportation and 18 silver for a rune of portals. And with 2 of these, you easily generate 2 gold by just going to someone and giving them a portal. So that's 27 silver as an investment, and you get 2 gold. It's not bad, but it's not particularly impressive either, and I don't know if anyone's interested in doing that. Another thing you can do, selling a service as it were, is you can go and get the UBRS key, which I have done because I was able to solo bosses in LBRS. It took a long time, but it is doable. That's how I got the Sky Shroud leggings as well, just by soloing the first boss there. And you can spawn Jed, as it were, as in you can check the instance, see if Jed has been spawned. You unlock the door, obviously, and once you're in the instance, the door has been unlocked and Jed is there. You can simply sell the ID. You can do something like selling UBRS ID, Jed is up, because every caster wants Jed for this trinket, right, for Briarwood Reed, which drops off, obviously, Jed Rune Watcher in UBRS. And the door is unlocked, so they no longer need someone with the key, they no longer need to have members splitting up and looking for Jed IDs and whatever. Typically I charge about 20 gold for this service, or rather I used to charge 20 gold for this service because I don't bother with it anymore. The Eye of Shadow thing is far more lucrative for me. And obviously the last thing that you could do as a mage is to boost others. And that means that you can boost people in RFC, you can boost them in Shadowfang Keep, you can boost them in Scarlet Monastery, you can boost them in Zul'Farrak if they know how to reset, if they know the reset points, if they are able to handle that sort of thing. Or you can just pull monsters to the start of the instance and AoE them there. It's something that I cannot recommend just because of this. Look, they've added to the report player option, they've added this sort of thing. Inappropriate communication and boosting. So you can report someone, apparently, for boosting people. Or for offering to boost people. That's partially why I'm not doing that thing, because I'm not quite sure of whether it's allowed or not. It seems to be a bit of a grey area. They've not been 100% clear about it. I know they said they would ban GDKPs, but I'm not quite sure of whether they're banning this sort of thing. If it's not bannable, or if you're not worried about it, you can obviously sell that as a service. And in that case, it's probably the most lucrative thing you can do. Because I have seen a few people, they are offering to boost people in Scarlet Monastery. You can do five of those runs per hour, and they are charging 10 gold per run. So what that means is that they're getting 40 gold per run, leading to 20 gold per hour if they've got 4 people that they're boosting, and if they're doing it constantly. So obviously that is far more lucrative than anything I've shown so far, other than the investments part, right? Again, I cannot recommend this because I don't know whether it's allowed. And until I get some clarity on that, I'm definitely not going to be doing it. Personally, I didn't even get the scepter for Maraudon just yet. I didn't even do the instance, so, None of those parts, like no orange, no purple, nothing. So I don't have the scepter. I can try to solo it, but again, the Eye of Shadow is far more lucrative. And if I'm recording this instead of going there and farming the Eye of Shadow right now, it's because at this point I have kind of reached my goal of being able to get professions up, being able to get enough money for free epic mounts for my free characters. I know it's not 1620 gold yet, I'm something like 35 gold away from it, but I still have two Eyes of Shadow and the stuff I invested, right? So as far as I'm concerned, I do have money for the epic mounts already. I just need AV to be released, so I no longer need to worry about this sort of thing. But if you're someone who is sort of passionate about gold making, which I'm not, well, then I suppose what you could do is you could farm again the Eye of Shadow or maybe a ZF or whatever, and still keep buying that stuff which I showed earlier, right? Like Elemental Earth is still selling for close to 30 silver. Let's just log a different character and check that. I'm just going to do a full scan of the auction house just to be able to be a bit more accurate, right? Because so far I have made a few mistakes, and the most visible one was the one with the winter squid that I thought was selling for 7 silver, and it was actually selling for closer to 24 silver. So for that I just use this add-on Auctionator. It's pretty decent for listing stuff and for buying stuff. It's got almost everything you would expect from an auction house add-on, right? So if you go for Elemental Earth, yeah, you can buy these for 28 silver each. What that means is that when you sell one Eye of Shadow, right, that's 375 gold, right, you can buy, I don't know, probably, let's just give a ballpark number here, 1000 of these, 1000 Elemental Earth. The main problem being where the hell are you going to store them, because they stack up to 10, so you're going to need 100 bag spaces or bank spaces, whatever, for this thing. They are going to be required later down the line, so it is a pretty safe investment. You could also go with Dreamfoil. There will absolutely never ever be enough Dreamfoil available because it's required for just about everything. Flasks, greater whatever protection potions, anything you can think of, it is required for those alchemy recipes, right? The same thing can be said about Mountain Silver Sage, which is pretty cheap, and Plague Bloom, right? This is also going to be required, and it's going to be required because you've got these potions that just about every non-caster DPS wants. And those potions are, elixirs, really, Elixir of the Mongoose, right? You can see that this gives you 2 crit and 25 agility. So rogues want them, hunters want them, and warriors absolutely want them, right? So that's another thing that you absolutely could make quite a bit of gold on. Let's cover another thing. Perhaps you picked up Enchanting. I haven't, but there's quite a bit of money to be made with Enchanting at level 60. And that's done by soloing RFD, right? Razorfen Downs, I don't remember what it's called. That's done by soloing that and disenchanting every blue item you get, and you can get about 4 per run. So if you're into that, you can make about 10 gold in theory by selling the small radiant shards. The thing about them is that they are used for the fiery weapon enchant. You can see that my rogue has fiery weapon on both weapons, right? I bought two of these and I bought two short swords of vengeance. They're not particularly great, but you know, just leveling weapons really. And that requires 4 small radiant shards and 1 essence of fire. You can farm the essence of fire in Ungoro at the top of that volcano, but the drop chance is very, very low. It does drop in molten core though of trash, so you're always going to find a steady supply of these on the auction house. What that means is that enchanting one weapon costs about 13-14 gold. However, this enchant goes for 25 gold in trade chat. I know because I bought 2 of them, right? Actually, I bought about 6 of them so far, and I'm going to be buying 2 more later on. So that's another option you could be using. You could just run RFD. It's super easy to solo at level 60. I'm guessing any class can do it. Obviously, you know, rogues, mages, warriors, they have an easier time in there. You disenchant that crap. You don't need enchanting at a high level, so in order to disenchant things, you're perfectly fine to have level 1 enchanting, as it were, skill level 1. Of course, in order to do the fiery enchant, you would need high level enchanting, so it's up to you. That's an option if you're looking to make gold, but I don't think it's that good, just because you would be making, say 4 shards per run. That's 10 gold a run, so you're still in the Zul'Farrak ballpark of 40 to 50 gold an hour. Totally not worth it, right? You're much better off with investing, I think. And the investing part, once again, you get something that's fairly expensive, like the Eye of Shadow. That is what I've been doing, right? And you just fill your inventory with, your alts inventory with whatever is going to be selling for more gold down the line. Like free action potions, they're not really necessary in Molten Core. Some people do use them for Molten Destroyers and whatever, but they're not really necessary. However, in later instances, take Nax for example, people are going to need these because they're going to be necessary on trash. Those mobs before patchwork, they stun the tank and they go for the next target. So if tanks get stunned there, it's a raid wipe, everyone loses the world buffs and so on. Because of that, tanks are required to use them there. But of course, if you do this, once again, you're going to have to wait until Nax is released in order to make any decent amount of money on these things. It's fine, they're not, they don't cost me anything to store, so yeah, I just keep them on alts. I've got quite a few of these level 1 alts, as you can see, and a lot of them do have various stuff in the bank. They've got stuff stored, anything ranging from herbs to these winter squids to whatever else. Some potions, some orb, a few formulas that I just happened to come across, and so on. It's something you could possibly consider doing. By the way, the easier thing to do with these alts, if that's what you're doing, if you're using alts to store items. Some people only use one alt and they just mail infinite stuff to that alt and then pick it up when it's required again. You could also use this, the knife in snapper. I'm pretty sure, when I bought these were like, again, 2-3 silver each. A lot of people have been botting them. There has been a ban wave since, I believe. I know that because a couple of people I know got banned. Well, supposedly they didn't do anything, but you know how that thing works, right? So these are now selling for 20 silver each, and I bought them for, 2-3 silver each again, because people were botting them before getting banned. It's one option. that you might want to consider as well, buying these things. So yeah, with that, I think this video is already long enough, but I'm just going to cover one more thing. Now, I mentioned that I start as a mage and I go with herbalism and mining. I am forced to use a macro for it. That macro is right here. It's a cast sequence macro to find herbs and find minerals. So you can see right now I'm using find minerals. I press a button, it switches to find herbs. Press it again, it switches to find minerals. It's a bit annoying, but that's how things are in this version of classic, of vanilla, whatever you want to call it. Now, it's not just for outdoor farming. Now, of course, if you were to find a lot of black lotus, that would be pretty good. If you were to find a lot of arcane crystals, yeah, credit to you, that's amazing as well. But outdoors, things are quite contested. However, later down the line, they're going to release this other instance, which is, where is it? Dire Maul East. When this is released, you've got 3 easy money making options there. You can either go with inside and solo, obviously, either as a mage, a warlock, whatever you can use to solo it. And there are quite a few herbs in there. You can find Dreamfoil, you can find Grom's Blood. There are some books that people are going to require for their class-specific trinket. And at the end of the instance, you're also going to have those between 2 and 3 rich thorium veins, each of them with a chance of giving you an arcane crystal. That's one option, going with herbalism and mining. Another option is to go with enchanting, because you're going to be soloing this boss, Zebrim, you're going to be soloing Hydrospawn as well, and Alzin. So that's at least 3 bosses. You're probably going to solo Lethrangis as well, but most classes skip it. Some classes are able to solo it, other classes kind of struggle, so you're talking about soloing between 3 and 4 bosses. You could reasonably expect, let's say on average, 3 large brilliant shards of this thing, just disenchanting the items they drop. So I don't know what sort of profession mix you would go with. I will go with herbalism and mining. Some people go with herbalism and enchanting, others go with mining and enchanting. Either way, by soloing this stuff, you are able to get some books. This one will sell for quite a bit of gold. I see it's been renamed to Nostra. I think it used to be called Foror, as in Foror's Compendium of Dragon Slaying. It might have something to do with those scandals related to Blizzard, whatever. And you can get a class-specific trinket. The mage one is so terrible that I wouldn't even pay like 5 silver for it. But some of the other ones, like the priest one for example, are pretty good trinkets, like 10 fire resistance, 33 healing and some MP5. The warlock one is decent as well, just decent, not particularly good. The rogue one is, I would say, pretty good, like 2% hit chance. That's not bad, right? The druid one is also very good. The hunter one seems kind of meh to me, but who knows. The shaman one is decent, just decent because it's damage and healing, so it's obviously lower, and what that means is that you would need an elemental shaman to buy this thing. There aren't going to be a lot of them, I believe. The paladin one, well, I play horde, so nothing to say there. As for the warrior one, it's utter crap. You could also be getting some Librams there. I do believe that the Libram of Constitution would be selling for a decent amount, but that's something that remains to be seen. and you don't know whether it's going to drop or not. What you do know is that you are going to be getting green foil, Gromp's blood, and if you're a miner as well, you are going to be getting lots and lots of rich thorium veins. So potentially arcane crystals and some thorium bars. So that's not bad at all. In short, what I think classic gold making can be sort of explained as is a simple matter of knowing what's going to happen in advance. And because you've had vanilla before, and then you've had, and that was in 2004, 2005, then we've had classic in 2019, and obviously now in 2024, almost 2025, we already know just about everything that's going to happen. So knowing what's going to happen means that you know what's going to sell, what's going to be in demand later down the line. And that is, in my opinion, the best way of making gold. Like right now, I am going to head back to those guys, to the Heatherine Slayers, and I'm going to get Eye of Shadow number 5. And what I'm going to do with the money is, once again, I am going to invest it. So I'm not going to just go and get a 100% Raptor just to be cool. I don't care about that. What I'm going to be doing instead is I'm going to get my 370 or whatever gold, and I'm going to go and once again buy the hell out of every consumable I know that is going to be required in Nax, only to then sell it at easily 10 times the price. And there is no other gold making method that comes even close. So you've seen Elemental Earth, it goes for 28 silver, 30 silver a pop now. I can promise you that when Nax hits, when AQ hits, actually, they are going to be required in Nax as well. Greater nature protection potions are going to be required, and that will push the price of Elemental Earth up to, I don't know, maybe 6, maybe 8 gold, easily. Up from 30 silver, right? The sharpening stones required by warriors. Oh look, we've got another mage, an alliance mage this time, trying to farm these guys. When AQ and Nax hit, you're going to need greater nature protection potions, you're going to want the elemental sharpening stones, you're going to want a bunch of other stuff. So those will create a new market. This, by the way, is the rich thorium vein that I mentioned earlier. It's a bit tricky because in order to reach it, you have to go up here, so you need to watch out for the way this guy patrols. Occasionally I do aggro it, but I don't care, I just freeze it and casually mine the rich thorium vein that I mentioned. And there you go, I just got an arcane crystal, that's an easy 32 gold, right? There is another spawn, and that spawn is all the way up here. You can check it, but I wouldn't go for it unless you already know the patrols there. I know how to avoid them, I know how far or how close I can get before getting aggro. And if I do get aggro, I will just run the hell away, even with my 60% mount speed, right? There is, like I said, a bit of competition here, in the form of other mages, occasionally some druids, some shamans, whatever. It doesn't matter, because once you know which mob has been tagged, right? Let's say this guy was just killing the mob on the left-hand side, you can just position yourself on the right-hand side here, wait for this guy to spawn, and immediately spam Fire Blast to tag it. Once you've tagged it, you don't care, you just go Frost Nova, and you go into your Frostbolt rotation routine, so to speak. And yeah, that's about it. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, well, good for you. Hopefully you will be making quite a bit of gold using it. All the best, and yeah, see you next time.